Hold on to your floppy disks, folks, because we're about to dive into the wild world of cyber warfare. This is the big leagues where lines of code can cripple entire countries. Today's main event, the NotPetya Cyberattack. Buckle up, Buttercup, because things are about to get messy. It's 2017, Trump's in the White House, and the world is still trying to figure out how we ended up with a reality TV star as the leader of the free world. Meanwhile, over in Eastern Europe, things were heating up between Russia and Ukraine. Russia decided they quite fancied a slice of Ukrainian territory called Crimea, and they weren't afraid to use a little military muscle to get their hands on it. The US and its allies slapped some sanctions on Russia. Into this volatile mix steps NotPetya, a cyber weapon of unprecedented sophistication, unleashed like a digital kraken. But who were the masterminds behind this digital blitzkrieg, and what did they hope to achieve? To answer those questions, we need to delve deeper into the murky underworld of cyber warfare. Now, to truly grasp the sheer audacity of NotPetya, we need to rewind the clock a bit further, all the way back to 2015. Enter our first protagonist, a plucky young journalist named Andy Greenberg. Andy decided to embed himself with a group of Ukrainian hackers who were less than thrilled with Russia's recent land grab. These were skilled cyber warriors, digital Robin Hoods fighting back against what they saw as Russian aggression, and they had a secret weapon, a nasty piece of malware they affectionately dubbed Petya. Petya was a ransomware worm designed to encrypt a victim's files and hold them hostage until a ransom was paid. Greenberg, being the intrepid reporter that he is, volunteered to be Petya's guinea pig. Little did he know that the code he was witnessing would soon be weaponized on a global scale. Now, let's get technical for a hot minute, shall we? Because to understand how NotPetya wreaked so much havoc, we need to talk about the tools of the trade. Imagine a world where digital lockpicks and skeleton keys exist, allowing hackers to waltz through security systems like they're strolling through an open door. Well, stop imagining, because that world is here, and its name is cyber warfare. First up, we have Mimikatz, a tool so devious it could make a Bond villain blush. Developed by a French security researcher, Mimikatz is the digital equivalent of a master key, capable of extracting passwords and other sensitive data from a compromised system. But wait, there's more. Enter EternalBlue, an exploit developed by the one and only NSA. EternalBlue exploited a vulnerability in Microsoft Windows, allowing attackers to remotely execute code and spread malware like wildfire. Together, Mimikatz and EternalBlue formed the one-two punch of NotPetya, allowing it to spread with terrifying speed and efficiency. And that's how NotPetya became a digital hurricane. Section 5, Patient 0, the infection begins with MeDoc. Our story takes us to Ukraine, where a seemingly innocuous software company called MeDoc became patient zero in the NotPetya pandemic. MeDoc provided accounting software to businesses across Ukraine, making it the perfect conduit for a digital plague. The hackers, believed to be the Russian GRU, infiltrated MeDoc's systems and inserted a malicious update into their software. On June 27, 2017, the trap was sprung. The infected update went out, and NotPetya began to spread like wildfire through Ukrainian networks. Within hours, Ukraine was plunged into chaos, with ATMs going offline, transportation systems grinding to a halt, and hospitals forced to turn away patients. Ukraine under siege. NotPetya cripples a nation. Remember Chernobyl, that whole nuclear meltdown fiasco? Well, imagine that, but instead of radiation poisoning, it's your entire digital infrastructure going Chernobyl. That was the reality Ukrainians faced, as NotPetya ripped through their country with terrifying speed. Banks down, airports grounded, government offices more useless than usual, but the worst was yet to come. NotPetya wasn't just content with wreaking havoc in Ukraine. It quickly spread beyond Ukraine's borders, infecting systems in over 100 countries and causing billions of dollars in damage worldwide. This wasn't just a regional outbreak, it was a full-blown pandemic, and the world was caught woefully unprepared. Woefully. A global pandemic, from shipping giants to chocolate factories. Take Maersk, for example, the shipping giant that moves roughly 20% of global trade. Yeah, those guys. Well, NotPetya hit them like a rogue wave, bringing their operations to a screeching halt. Ships were stranded at sea, cargo sat idle in ports, and the global supply chain went into meltdown mode. And it wasn't just Maersk. FedEx, Merck, Mondelez, the makers of your beloved Oreos, people, all fell victim to this digital plague. It was like a scene out of a disaster movie, except instead of Bruce Willis saving the day, it was IT departments around the world working overtime, desperately trying to contain the damage. The cost of this digital pandemic, a staggering $10 billion. It was a stark reminder that in our hyper-connected world, no one is immune to the threat of cyber warfare. Maersk Adrift, a maritime giant battles digital waves. Imagine this. You're the CEO of a multinational shipping company responsible for moving billions of dollars worth of cargo across the globe. You've got ships traversing the high seas, ports bustling with activity, and a complex network of logistics keeping everything running smoothly. Then bam, NotPetya hits and your entire digital infrastructure goes kaput. That's the nightmare scenario Maersk found themselves in. Their computers were toast, their communication systems were down, and they had no way to track their ships or manage their cargo. It was like being adrift at sea, but instead of waves crashing over the deck, it was lines of malicious code. What do you do? Well, if you're Maersk, you dust off your old-school crisis management playbook. They had to rebuild their entire IT infrastructure from scratch, all while trying to keep their business afloat. The cost, a whopping $300 million. Hunting the shadowy perpetrators. The trail leads to Russia. Now, in the aftermath of any major cyber attack, the question on everyone's mind is, who done it? And in the case of NotPetya, all fingers pointed towards the Kremlin. Attributing cyber attacks is a tricky business. It's not like traditional warfare where you can just follow the tanks back to their base. Cyber espionage is a shadowy world of aliases, false flags, and misdirection. But even in this digital labyrinth, the evidence against Russia was about as subtle as a bear wearing a tutu. The timing of the attack, the sophistication of the malware, and the targets themselves all pointed towards a state-sponsored operation. The US and its allies were quick to condemn the attack, imposing sanctions and engaging in diplomatic saber-rattling. But Russia, as they are wont to do, denied any involvement. The fallout: cyber warfare and the need for digital resilience. So what did we learn from this whole NotPetya fiasco? Well, for starters, cyber warfare is no longer the stuff of science fiction. It's here, it's real, and it has the potential to be just as devastating as any conventional conflict. Secondly, in our hyper-connected world, no one is immune. The NotPetya attack was a wake-up call, a stark reminder that we need to take cybersecurity seriously. We need to be prepared for a future where cyber attacks are the norm, not the exception. Lessons from the abyss, a call to action. So where do we go from here? Well, the first step is acknowledging the threat. Cyber warfare is real, it's happening, and it's only going to get worse. We need to stop burying our heads in the sand, or should I say, the cloud, and start taking concrete steps to protect ourselves. That means investing in robust cyber defenses, strengthening international cooperation, and holding those responsible for these attacks accountable. Governments need to work together to establish international norms and treaties that outlaw the use of cyber weapons. Businesses need to prioritize cybersecurity, investing in robust defenses and educating their employees about the importance of digital hygiene. And individuals, well, we need to be more vigilant about our online activity. The NotPetya attack was a disaster, but it was also a wake-up call. The future of our digital lives, and perhaps even our physical world, depends on our ability to adapt, innovate, and work together to counter this growing threat.